Okay, we are live. Got to let it breathe, though, just for a moment. Bring on Facebook. Get the band fully back together here. Get everybody under one roof. Hope everyone's having a great Monday up to this point, anyway. And it looks like we're good. So, welcome in, everybody. It's the Mile High Huddle podcast. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. And with me, returned in the flesh. You know him, you love him. Zack Kelberman. Zack, hopefully you've had a phenomenal vacation, dude. I'm sure everybody is tired of seeing just me on screen for like 4 or 5 episodes, however long it's been. Welcome back, dude. How was your trip?
It was fun, man. It was pretty relaxing. Went out there unplugged, did a couple hikes, saw some waterfalls, just recharge the old batteries. Good to get away, see some nature, and not to.
Oh, no. Now it did it to Zack. What the heck is happening, dude? What is happening to StreamYard, bro? StreamYard is just there.
Welcome freaking back.
Hold on, Zack, before you go on. This happened to me 2 episodes in a row where I just was gone from StreamYard. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen again. You were saying nature.
Yeah, it was just like I said, nice to get away, recharge. But I'm excited to be back with you, back in the saddle, talk some Broncos. It is late June. It was still that tough stretch we're bearing through, but it's going to be back. Happy. Everyone's doing well, hopefully.
Oh, yeah. I must say, spoken like a true poet. Good to see some nature. You know, that's about what like, if you ask me if I went to Hawaii with my family earlier this year, and it's good to see some nature, you know. I mean, there it went again. StreamYard, dude. Guys, I got to apologize. This is not it's not anything we're doing. There's something going on with StreamYard and something perhaps on Zack's end. So while we get that figured out, let's give some hellos. This has been a brutal 3-episode streak for us with the StreamYard kickouts. Papa Bear, dude, what's up? How is you? Hopefully you're still trending in the right direction, my brother. Good evening, Broncos country. Hashtag 13 and 4 plus. Got them all. 16 days until training camp. That's right. Tomorrow we kick over to the new month, and the rookies report on the 16th, and the veterans on the 22nd. So, yeah, training camp gets kicking into high gear, and Zack's back.
Hopefully.
Hey, so real quick, and I don't know if I've fixed it, but turns out my Chrome needed updating.
I did that because I heard you talk about it with Scott.
Yes. So hopefully that's all it was, because I think whatever version you and I were probably operating on had some kind of negative interaction with StreamYard. So fingers crossed. But I was just telling Papa Bear, heck yeah, dude, training camp will be here before you know it.
Yeah, thank God. It's we always ruminate over the stretch, but it's tough on us content creators, tough on the fans, this dead period. But like you say, David, it's going to be here before we know it. And I'm so excited to see Bo Nix in year 2, this Broncos team.
No doubt about it. So good to see you, Papa Bear. Some other hellos real quick. MBLEX, what's up, brother? We like to party. We like to party. Indeed, we do. I always screw that up. I want to say John, but it's Ton. What's up, dude? How is you? Ton? I don't know. The Ronk checking in. What's up, big dog? Great to see you. Good evening, Chad and Zack on the Mile High Huddle podcast. Go Bo Broncos. So, Zack, I was feeling better about it, but just so that we're not pushing our luck, I'm not going to do a scratch and sniff share screen, but some interesting information came out today. And there went again, dadgummit. Don't know what to say, guys. Before I get into the story, let me just say some hellos, see what happens here with Zack. Big Earn, what's up, brother? Hello, Chad and Zack. Go Broncos country only. Okay, I'm with you, bro. Where was Todd? I was going to say what's up to Todd. There he is. Hello, Broncos country. And by the way, I'm officially retired today, ending 21 years of service, dude. Well, thank you for that service, bro. And congratulations to you on a 21-year career, man. That's amazing. Congratulations. Let's let Zack settle in here. It's all good, bro. Something has been going on. I'm telling you. If it was happening to me, that's exactly what would happen. So it was happening to me, and now it's happening to you. It tells me it's not anything going on with us. It's something StreamYard oriented. But Todd is officially retiring today. He retired today, Zack. 21 years of service.
Yeah, I apologize for it going in and out. I don't understand what's going on. I couldn't use Firefox because it worked better on Chrome. Now Chrome is crashing because of StreamYard. But Todd, I don't mean to co-op your celebration here. It's an amazing moment. We're happy for you, and thank you for sharing that with us tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to give something a shot here, guys. Those of you who are on Instagram, you're going to have to go find us on YouTube or Facebook. We're going to sign off from these streams. We're going to end these streams because I think it might have, just to be on the safe side, we're going to say adios on Instagram. Come meet us back over on one of the other channels. Real quick, what was the other one? Yeah, Twitch. I'm done with Twitch anyway. No offense, guys. Twitch just, it's not for us. And see, it's doing it again to my brother there. I don't know what's going on, but remove this destination. Yep, Twitch. Okay, Scott. So all that's left is Facebook, X, and YouTube. So hopefully that helps. I don't know. It's never been a problem before, but StreamYard has also done quite a few updates lately. So I don't know. Phil, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Good evening, Chad, Zach, and Deacon Scott. Welcome back, Zach. Hope you had a great vacation. Hashtag Buckham, MHH for life, Broncos for life. Yes, indeed. I know he did. I'm just texting him real quick. So he thinks it's like all his fault. Probably it's not. It's something going on with StreamYard. Hold on. It's cool. All right. Okay, guys, back to the chat. Thank you, Greg. I had fun. It's not my favorite doing shows solo just because I like to drink tea while I'm talking. And when you're the only guy on camera, it's a little bit harder to wet your whistle, like right now. Anyway, appreciate you, big dog. And also, as I just think with very few exceptions, podcasts are best when there's at least two people. And in our format of sports talk, I typically don't like more than two people. So ideal is two, period. No more, no less. But this time of year and every once in a while, like I might go do something and Zach will just go solo. It's okay once in a while, but nobody's trying to go solo all the time. I just don't think it makes for as fun of a product for you guys when there's not two hosts either communicating, disagreeing, breaking things down, whatever it may be. I'm just delaying for a second here before I get into this. He's back. There he is, Zach. And again, dude, hey, something's going on, so it's not your fault. We'll just try to grind through this and see if we can't get through it, big dog.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but again, guys, I apologize for the technical difficulties we're having.
But I feel bad for the audience because, man, I put him through this. What's today? Monday. So Thursday night show, solo, and Scott wasn't there either. So then this last night, it starts happening again. Thankfully, Scott's there for this one. And so he popped in a couple times when I was just like, and for some reason, too, it's really cool. I was glad to see this. The stream didn't end. So there's just this empty. People are hanging out in the chat. I'm talking, all of a sudden, just gone. The stream's still going, so I was able to hop back in. But anyway, just bringing Zach up to speed on that stuff. Clayton, good to see you. And this was Phil's message to you. Welcome back. Hope you had a great vacay, by the way.
Phil. Appreciate that.
Okay. I'm going to give this a shot here. And in fact, just so I know what's going on, and if anything happens to Zach, so I know I'm not talking to myself when I jump over to another tab, I'm going to read some of this stuff, guys, just from my phone tonight while we get things figured out with StreamYard. So annoying. So here's the main topic. This came out via Gilberto Manzano of Sports Illustrated today. He had a very nice article. He's doing 32 teams in 32 days at the mothership. And it was the Broncos' turn. There's quite actually a lot of good information here that I would like to maybe go over, but I don't want to bury the lead. I want to get straight to it. And he talks about, in his section titled, Zach, sources are saying, it says, Payton motivated to turn Nix into a star quarterback. So let me just quote him real quick. Here's what he wrote. Quote, Payton is regarded as one of the best coaches in the game, but he also benefited from having Drew Brees as his quarterback for many years with the Saints. According to a former head coach, Payton may be highly motivated to develop Nix into a star and win a Super Bowl without Brees. And then here's the quote, him citing that coach. This is what the coach said, quote, I think that's some of his motivation for coming back. I believe he's going to get it done. I believe they're going to take the next step in the right direction. Close quote. So, Zach, part of what's motivating him isn't just the pursuit of another Super Bowl. It's I want to be able to prove that I can do it without Brees, and I'm going to make Bo Nix into a superstar. Driving me crazy, this stuff. I don't want to just throw in the towel. Let's come back. Let's come back to the chat for a sec. Sam Bam, what's up, bro? Evening, guys. Bo will be a star. I'm glad we at least got that in. Hopefully we'll get a chance to hear what Zach thinks about that. But at least I'm able to get that. Here he comes. He's coming back right now. Come on back. I know, dude. It's all good. It's all good. Just come on back. What can we do? It's like something going on. But what are your thoughts? And then we'll grab Sam here, Zach, on Sean Payton trying to make Bo Nix a star. Oh, man. Okay. Forget it. I'm going to tell him not to worry about it. And, man, I wish we could know what the heck is causing this stuff, man. Especially when he said he updated his Chrome. So, anyway, let me go back to the chat. But first, let me just tell him, dude. Let me just tell him. Let me just tell him so he's not, like, pulling his hair out. Okay. Hold on, guys. Sorry. There we go. All right. Sam, evening, guys. Bo will be a star, but I'm wondering if he will need a younger stud receiver to become that, like a Jamar Chase, a Justin Jefferson, a CeeDee Lamb. Do you think that's the case, or do you think Franklin or Mims can become that? Go Broncos. Really good question. And I don't know. I think it's more of a sum of the parts type thing because, I mean, think back to what Peyton had with Drew Brees. Different eras, but like the first era, who did he have with Drew? He had Marcus Colston was part of his rookie draft or his maiden draft class as Saints head coach, and he became the team's number one. You know, Devery Henderson. Pardon me. I'm trying to think of some of the names from the original era. And then the latter era, you had Michael Thomas kind of as the main guy. I guess Thomas did have a year or two on that kind of a level as these guys, but I didn't really view him as that. He was more of that big body possession guy. And he made some plays, but he was more just like a target magnet, right? So I don't think the Broncos necessarily need to go out and try and find a Chase or a Jefferson or a Lamb because they have a young up-and-coming group. This is one of those things where it's hard to answer because so many balls are in the air, in that we already know the Broncos are banking heavily on their younger receivers, the second and third year guys, plus their new rookie, Pat Bryant, showing big-time development in 2025. For Mims, this is going to be year 3. So we could see him, based on how he finished 2024, we could see him develop into a guy like that. Not that I think he's ever going to be as polished as any of those 3 guys, but just a weapon in a lot of different ways and more than just a gadget. I think that's within the offering and the possibilities here for Marvin Mims, but I don't think he needs to have that younger stud receiver because Cortland Sutton's still a thing. And yeah, he's in a contract year. The expectation is the Broncos are going to pay him, but with Sutton leading the way, it kind of reminds me of some of those teams that Brees had. You know, the big X guy, Colston, the big X guy, Thomas, and then everybody else kind of filling different holes and being some of the parts. The biggest component being the quarterback is that tide that raises all the ships. But I don't think they necessarily need it, but I could see Mims. I'm not so sure I see it in Franklin, but I see it in Mims. I think Bryant has a chance to be that, although he's not fast, right? He ran a 4.61 at the combine. So we'll see, my brother. We'll see. And by the way, guys, I just told Zach, hey, dude, I'll call you after the stream because it's driving him crazy, which means it's probably driving you guys crazy too. Lady D has a message for Zach, though. I'm sure he's watching. And thank you so much for the generous super chat. Deanna means the world to both of us. You know that. She says, welcome back, Zach. Hey, Chad. Bo Nix is awesome. So happy he's our quarterback. My opinion, the media doesn't give Bo enough credit because he plays for the Broncos. The media dishes on the Broncos. Overall attention is attention, negative or positive. Go Knicks. MHH for life. Knicks for 6. Well, in the very article I wrote today covering the Manzano piece with the coach saying that, Sean Payton's trying to turn Bo Nix into a star, this and that. I did lament because there were some things he said earlier in the piece that I took some exception to, and I'll just read some of it. It kind of bothers me, but before I read it, it definitely speaks to what you're talking about here, Lady D, and the general disrespect. And I think it's mostly still tied to that confirmation bias. It's a combination of confirmation bias and just overall ignorance. They weren't really paying that much attention to Bo Nix's rookie campaign. And that those preconceived tropes about Bo coming out, that he was a system quarterback, the best he could ever be in the league, would be like a glorified game manager. So here's a few things that Manzano wrote. Said, quote, Nix had many positive results as a rookie and made his doubters look foolish, especially those who predicted that he'll be a draft bust solely because he was the 6th quarterback taken in the first round of the 24 draft. Now the question becomes whether Nix can become a star in his second season and be more than just a quality game manager. See, already, it's a little bit of shade, but whatever. Nix had his fair share of struggles last season, which didn't hurt the team much because of his strong surroundings. Many quarterbacks have become top-tier passers after benefiting early in their careers from elite coaching and defenses, and many others ended up being average quarterbacks, which is not the worst thing in a league that struggles to find 32 competent quarterbacks. Last little stretch here. Nix could use a legitimate number 1 wideout to help him develop. So this gets back to what Sam Bam's question was. But the team has depth with Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Devon Bailey, Troy Franklin, and rookie Pat Bryant. Denver also added tight end Evan Ingram, who had productive seasons with the Jaguars, and there could be a strong rushing attack for Nix to lean on with the new tandem of rookie R.J. Harvey and veteran J.K. Dobbins. The Broncos did plenty right last season, but they might need Nix to become a star QB to become serious contenders in the loaded AFC, close quote. So there's a lot of praise. There's some praise, maybe not a lot. There's certainly praise for Bo and what he wrote, but also a lot of shade. And some of it is kind of like passive aggressive. But the line about whether he can become a star and more than just a quality game manager, like, look, dude, how could you view what he did? Look, I'm not trying to make more out of what it was, okay? Because Bo Nix was far from perfect. There's a reason he did lose out in the O'Roy sweepstakes to Jaden Daniels. Consistency being one of the keys there. But when you remove that slow start, by the way, in the slow start, he's not playing that great. He still had the Broncos at 2-2 at the end of the first quarter of the season, if that matters to anybody, for what it's worth, right? But then October comes, he finds a new gear. Payton starts opening up the playbook. I mean, just what he did, seriously, just catching that touchdown pass in Baltimore. Again, I don't want to make more of it than what it was, but that alone shows you that we're not talking about Kyle Orton here, right? When you think of a game manager, we're not talking about Kyle Orton. And then he goes on to, I'll just say it, franchise record for rookies, 3,775 passing yards, leads all rookie quarterbacks in passing yards and touchdowns, finishes 5th in the NFL in passing touchdowns, throws the 2nd most passing touchdowns by a rookie in NFL history, and he's a game manager. I just think that's short shrift, all due respect to our colleague. So for what it's worth, I feel your pain, Lady D, and I think a lot of it still stems from the book on Bo before he got drafted. And just, I don't know why he wasn't paying attention last year to what was happening. But Lady D, again, thank you so much for that very, very generous super chat. Yes, Phil, there are other services besides StreamYard. Let me see what Mr. Producer's saying. Oh, it's okay, bro. Don't worry about it. No, come on. I miss your Musk. Come on. We're bringing on Mr. Producer.
He said, no, I don't want you in. I threw him a #1 sign on that. So, no, my lights aren't on, so my forehead's not quite as bright and shiny today. Otherwise, I'd have to like go get a hat or something. But yeah, I figured I'd come in and talk about this a little bit. I watched the Saints a lot, when they were going and was listening to what you were saying about who they had and what they need for receivers. And during their first part of the heyday, Marquise Colston was a consistent 1050 guy as far as his yards. You've got that guy. That's what Cortland Sutton is.
Right.
Cortland Sutton is Marquise Colston when it comes to production. Then you've got a couple of running backs that combine for 100 receptions, and you got a tight end that gets 50. So you get 150 out of your running backs and tight ends, and you get 1,100 yards from your number one wide receiver.
Yeah.
That's how the Saints were built in the first decade before all of a sudden our number one guy, Michael Thomas, and he sets gets 1,800 yards receiving or something just out of this world.
Right.
You've got the pieces for that right now as far as receivers go. Now, talking about yesterday's show, Chad talking about Alvin Kamara, for me, I still want another dependable receiver out there, so is it?
Whoa, it just did it to Scott. You see, guys, I'm telling you, something's going on with StreamYard. It's just zipping guys out of here. And Phil wants to know if there are other services than StreamYard. Yes, there are, but none of them offer the features. See?
Wow. The page crashed is what it was for me.
So
the whole page crashed, almost like it was a JavaScript thing, the old JavaScript thing. Yeah. But for me, the entire page just crashed.
So what does that mean? How do you fix that?
That's a StreamYard thing. And when they say, how did your stream go? You give them a big fat thumbs down on this.
Judas Priest. Yeah. So I'm listening past the graveyard over here.
Yeah. But as far as, just kind of finishing off about the, the weapons, and then I'll probably just hop out because there's no reason for me to be yo-yoing in and out of here too.
No, if it happens again, hop out. If it happens
that's what again. I mean. Is just that can Mims and Franklin and Vele, those guys, and is Bryant going to be a legitimate, or is he a Sutton replacement? Is he a like for like? Is he going to be a volume pass catcher, 60 plus catches? I don't know. I don't know. Those are guys you typically take a little higher than where you ended up getting Bryant. Would I like to see that's where I still think of the Broncos. Where would I like to put a little more resources into this offense?
Yeah.
I'd like to use a high pick.
There he goes. Oh no. And now he's frozen. Yeah, guys. This is one of those man, I don't want to have to find another service. There are others out there. Yeah, dude, it's all good. Don't worry about it, Scott. We'll go like half an hour here, maybe a little past. It's all good, bro. But the bottom line is you want that extra receiver. You want that additional resource going into that bona fide receiver. So we'll see. I'm just like kind of thrown off still, pissed off about what's happening with this StreamYard stuff. But let me try and keep my mind on what's being said in the chat. Ed Keating, what's up, dude? Seen you in the chat a few days in a row. Always a good thing, or at least a couple days here in the last week. Great to see you, buddy. You go way back with us. OG Super Chat Superstar, helping out still. Last I checked anyway, in the MHH Super Fans Facebook group. Appreciate you. Says, I'm calling it now. Nix will be better than Brees, and Payton and Nix will win 2 Super Bowls. Book it. I love it, dude. I love it. From your lips to the ears of the football gods. That I'm just for craps and giggles. It's not perfect apples to apples, but Drew Brees, his first year. So you got to remember, he was technically a second-round pick because that's where he was drafted. He came into the league right before the final expansion with the Texans. If he would have been drafted the very next year, he would have been the last pick in the first round. But anyway, he didn't play his rookie year. His first real year was his second in San Diego. Went 8-8 as a starter, so he started the whole season and put up 3,200 yards, 17 touchdowns, 16 picks. His Pro Bowl year as a Charger came in 2004. He went 11-4 as a starter, 3,100 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. Are we still viewing Bo Nix as a game manager here? Again, I'll say 27 touchdowns, 7 picks, barely got over 3,000 yards, Pro Bowl. Now, that shows a phenomenal efficiency, especially his touchdown to interception ratio. But remember when I was saying a couple days ago how 27 touchdowns is actually a lot of touchdowns and how it was the franchise record in Denver for decades until Peyton Manning came along and now Bo Nix? Even a guy who's thrown in the 40s and a guy who's regularly threw in the 30s, like Russell Wilson. Best he could do the 2 years he was here was he threw for 26 with Sean Payton as his guy. But going back to the Drew Brees parallels, let's just kind of track it starting when Brees crossed paths with Sean Payton, which was 06. Booyah. I mean, by that point, you got to keep in mind, though, Brees was 1, 2, 3, 4. This was his 6th year in the league. 4,400 yards, 26 touchdowns, 11 picks. So a lot more yardage, fewer touchdowns than what Bo did in his first year with Sean Payton, and 1 fewer interceptions. In his second year with Sean Payton, and then I'm going to move off of this subject, a little bit of a step back for the team. He went 7-9 as a starter, but he passed for 4,423 yards and 28 touchdowns, but his interceptions went up to 18, which was the second most he ever threw in his career. All right. So he didn't really bust out, becoming the Brees we all know until 2008, which was his third year with Sean Payton, 5,000 yards, 34 touchdowns to 17 picks. And then it was the following year that he basically nearly duplicated that output and they won the Super Bowl, etc. So I think it's great. More power to you to say Bo Nix can be better than Drew Brees, but Drew Brees is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, right? Like, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. God bless. Let's hope that's what the football fates have in store for Bo Nix. But, you know, if you remove the stats and you remove the seniority and all that, and you just look at what they are as players, as quarterbacks, there's a reason why Drew Brees and why Bo Nix was being compared so much, and still to this day, to Drew Brees. And remember, that was happening long before the Broncos made him the 12th pick in the draft last year. They're very similar. The one spot where I would say Bo Nix has him edged is just the overall athleticism and physicality. Bo Nix is a big-ass dude, and he's strong and he's fast. Remember, even Sean Payton was like surprised by 2 things. One, how thick he is from his trunk down when he met him in person, and then how fast he is with his legs. Where Brees, maybe at this stage anyway, has Bo Nix beat is Bo Nix's ball placement and accuracy is not on the same level of Drew Brees. But, you know, if you go back to early Brees, like the first couple, 2-3 years, it's probably a lot closer, right? So Drew Brees, as a professional, got better and better, more accurate, more on point as time marched on. So we'll see. But yeah, Mike, I'm the Highlander, dude. No, I'm the Kurgan, bro. There can be only one. That's how they say it. There can be. No, I'm the Highlander. I'm not the bad guy. I'm not the Kurgan. But nice reference, dude, for the nerds, of which I am one. Phil, jumping in again. Thank you, brother. Why does the other pods not have this problem? Nick and Eric had no problems this morning. Bo's not a game manager. He'll be a Super Bowl winner with the Broncos. Good. That's a good point. I got to think about some of the denominators that perhaps we don't have in common. They stream to all the same destinations with the exception of Instagram, but I cut that out. So I don't know. If it was just me, if it was just the stuff I was having for those preceding 2 days, you know, I wouldn't read into it as much of it being a StreamYard thing, but it happens same night, multiple times to Zach, multiple times to Scott. It's a StreamYard thing. So, George, thanks for another great pod, but that is a good point, Phil, and I'm going to see if I can get to the bottom of why that might be, because one thing I know those guys don't do is they don't open tabs, but that's never been a big deal. The only time having multiple tabs open while I'm streaming on StreamYard on my browser, the only time that's ever been, I'm sorry to bore you guys with this, but the only time that's ever been a problem is if I've had like a questionable internet connection, like if I'm traveling I'm on vacation, I'm at a hotel doing it, or I'm like at the combine doing it from the hotel, etc. Let me see. Maybe Scott has some insight. True. Mornings are not nearly as heavily trafficked as the evening shows. No offense. It's just different audiences. People are at work. By the time there's a reason why when we started doing these live shows, I wanted them to go at 6 p.m. local time, because that's when people are home. It's great having that morning show because people can listen on their way to work and interact. Some people have jobs where they can listen and interact while they're at work, but people are available in the evenings, right? That's why telemarketers never stop calling you after like 5 p.m. and blow you up. But anyway, George, thanks for another great pod, Chad. You and the team are the best pod. Great info on our team. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, hit the thumbs up, my guys. Not that I've seen. And remember, Scott, this started Thursday, so there was only the Friday show. I'm pretty sure they didn't have any problems. And then me coming back last night and then tonight. Naj, what's up, dude? Brother, last year we were ranked bottom 3 in the preseason, and other than Broncos country, no one expected us to do anything. This year we're ranked top 10 or 12 across most national outlets with the number 1 projected defense. How will we respond, in your opinion? Well, I think one of the things, that's encouraging amongst many about the Broncos is Sean Payton, and not only his experience and all that and his presence as a stabilizing force for Bo, but the fact that he was weaned in the Bill Parcells School of Football Coaching Psychology. He understands how to not only motivate individuals when they need to kind of feel the burn and the fear of loss versus being lifted up and hope of gain. He understands individual level how to walk that line, but on a collective level, he knows how to, I think, fire up, motivate his team. So trust me, you guys have read them ad infinitum throughout this entire offseason, right? I mean, MHH, we're publishing 5 to 7 articles a day in the offseason, 1 minimum, but sometimes 2, 3 are us citing outside publications who are either ranking the Broncos low, saying something disrespectful, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things we've learned over the 2 years he's been head coach is Sean Payton reads the press clippings. Sean Payton reads Twitter. He'll use that stuff to fuel these guys. So even though, yes, I agree with you that at large, the NFL is no longer sleeping on the Broncos. It is still sleeping on Bo Nix, though. So there is that. But the little disrespects, the shade, Sean Payton's going to have probably a few different bulletin board presentations to fire up his guys. And also, look, they were humiliated the way their season ended. They didn't just lose in Buffalo. They got their lunch handed to them in a big, bad way. So I don't think they'll be lacking for – I don't think we have to worry too much about the resting on laurels, so to speak. So, but Naj, dude, I love you. I appreciate you. So great to see you tonight, big dog. And sorry to you and everybody else for the stupid stream drama that we're dealing with here tonight. Yeah, so dumb. All right. So meet and greet week 7, Broncos Giants. That's October 19th. And it's going to be a gas. We'll have more information as it gets a little bit closer, but it's on for show, you guys. It's on for show. Ronk, thank you, brother. Appreciate you more than you know. Great show tonight, Chad and Zach on the MHH pod. Zach would be here, but, I mean, it's like Chinese water torture, having him kicked out every 5 seconds, right? It's driving you guys nuts, driving him nuts. I'm about out of here. I'm going to take one more look here at the chat and see if there's anything interesting we haven't covered. Yeah, Bobby. Both Brees and Nix, good at reading coverages, making good decisions. That's something that a common denominator, Sean Payton is their coach. So that is a hallmark of, I think, most of Sean Payton coached quarterbacks. Lawrence Rivera, what's up, dude? What's up, guys? This is going to be Bo's first year to actually prove it now that teams got tape on him. I mean, they do have tape, but he was in a big prove it situation last year with all the shade he was getting, man. And it still persists, The NFL zeitgeist, the perception of Bo Nix at large to this day as evidenced by the article I was reading earlier. He's a glorified game manager. Really? Really? So let him hate. That's okay for now. That's okay for now. Yeah, I don't know what to. It's so weird. 50-minute podcast talk. This is Scott because he had his show. He was on a 50-minute podcast this morning, no problem. So really bizarre stuff. We'll try to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to reach out to StreamYard, see if we can't get a hold of somebody. But guys, there's Eric Flynn jumping in. Thank you, pal. Great to see you. Appreciate you being with us and the support. How do you think the touches will be split with Dobbins and Harvey? I think to start the season, Dobbins will be when you talk about a 1-2 punch, I think Dobbins will be he'll get it sounds worse than it is, but lion's share. He'll get the majority of the touches, but you're going to see Payton scheming for Harvey. You'll see him involved in the passing game, running around doing stuff. I think by the time you get to either the quarter pole or mid-season, that will naturally reverse roles, and you'll see more of Harvey being kind of the lead guy. Don't really quantify it by who starts in a running back by committee thing. That's meaningless. It's production. So that's how I see it. Eventually, Harvey will supplant him, but I'm excited about Dobbins, guys, even more than I was initially. As you guys know, I was kind of pounding the table for him as an option throughout the offseason, even after Harvey was drafted, all the way up until Sean Payton. The only time I ever kind of came off Dobbins was when Sean Payton was like flexing hard for Audric Estime, the second voluntary minicamp, talking about how he's a running back that needs to get a solid dose of carries to get into a groove. And this year he's going to get those opportunities. I'm like, well, all right, I guess Dobbins, if that's the case, I'm going to trust Payton. But like Scott so often says, don't follow what they say, follow what they do, because it was literally the next day that reports broke of the interest in Dobbins. And then the next week, mandatory minicamp, Dobbins is there, signs his deal. Rest is history. So Dobbins, though, I'm excited. In case you missed it yesterday, I talked about this. Since entering the league as a Baltimore Ravens second-round pick in 2020, only one running back in the NFL has a higher yards per carry average than J.K. Dobbins. And that's a minimum cutoff. I think it was 475 carries was the minimum there. So dude's got he's very efficient. It's just a matter of, stop me if you've heard this before. Can he stay healthy? Hey, David. Yeah, thanks, buddy. Reminding everybody, hit the like button. Maybe a little bit harder product to like tonight with all the technical problems, but trust me, we'll get to the bottom of it. Lady D, goodness gracious. Just as I'm about to sign off and say adios for tonight, we got the Lady D jumping in with her second top rope super chat. Love you so much. Thank you, Deanna. Thank you so much. Seriously. That's $100 hard-earned dollars, $200 when you count your previous one. And I do not take that for granted. None of us do here. And, man, it means the world to us. Thank you so much. Let them hate, she says. When we win the Super Bowl with Knicks, that's when they'll shut up. Bo is our franchise quarterback. Fluffer nut? Those who don't believe. Fluffer nut. I like that. Instead of using a different F word for those who don't believe, fluffer nut those who don't believe, right? I love it. I'm going to start using fluffer nut. That's a good one. What if it's just a wild typo? I've never heard it before. I've read books before too, I have read. I've never heard fluffer nut. Scott, have you ever heard fluffer nut? And he listens to audiobooks. Okay. No, really cool. Thank you so much, Lady D. And you're probably right. Just kind of like it, this is maybe making too much of it, but in a similar way where like undrafted or late round guys have to like outproduce, they have to like double the production of guys ahead of them on the depth chart to get that notice and that shine. And then once they make it to the actual playing field in the regular season, they have to like put down all pro caliber performances just to get any kind of national respect or shine. And then eventually when that becomes just status quo and they're doing it year in and year out, then like a Chris Harris Jr. just becomes an assumed superstar stud cornerback, one of the best in the business. Similar here with Bo Nix is he's going to have to basically, he can't just turn in a season in year 2 that is basically on a level with what he did as a rookie. He's going to have to beat it. Maybe you're right that it's going to take a Super Bowl for people to come around to how unique Bo Nix truly is and special, but I hope it doesn't come to that. I really do. I hope it doesn't come to that. But thank you so much, Lady D. You mean the world to us. You know this. Love you. Eric said, I think it's going to be closer to 50-50. Remember the touch share thing with Harvey and Dobbins? We'll see, buddy. And I think, you could be right. You could be right. Phil, I still wish we could get a big nose tackle. This D-line is good, but I still fear the run game with that big guy in the middle. Yeah, I mean, Denver's nose tackles are DJ Jones and Malcolm Roach. And I think DJ Jones, for the most part, does a good job. What he lacks in that, size department, I think it's mostly negligible, but he makes up for it with his athleticism. He's able to penetrate, etc. But I hear you. That could possibly be a lingering wart. Let me see what Naj is saying. Bro, is definitely top 15. Hold on. I think Bo opened some eyes, but by building on what he did and showing continued growth, then the respect for him will explode nationally. And Todd says, well, the real question is, where do you rank Bo right now? For me, he could be top 12. If he plays even better this year, top 10 in my opinion. And Naj says, well, bro, he was definitely top 15 in my opinion last year. But for all my years as a fan, seeing a young QB generate 34 touchdowns is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It's unprecedented, right? It's unprecedented. We know Justin Herbert, as a rookie, has the all-time record for passing touchdowns, 31 in 2020. I'm just seeing what he did as a rusher that year. Oh, dadgummit. He had 5. So he also holds the total touchdown record for a rookie quarterback too, by 2. So yeah, he edges out, right? So 31, 5, yeah, 36. Bo had 34. Dadgummit. But your point though, I mean, first of all, we're not used to seeing rookie quarterbacks as a day one starter. That's not exactly a normal thing in the NFL. And it's certainly far from normal in Broncos country. It was 41 years in between occurrences, right? John Elway, 1983. Bo Nix was the next day one rookie quarterback to start the season ever. But to go on and produce what he did is eye-opening. Why are people not gushing? Well, if it happens in any other quarterback draft season, it might be different. But when it's basically being billed as the new 1983 Hall of Fame quarterback class, and you had 6 guys go in the first round, and you have all this scrutiny and hype about Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels and Drake May, and Michael Penix comes in late in the season, looks really good for Atlanta. We'll see what becomes of J.J. McCarthy, but if Jaden Daniels doesn't have that phenomenal, I mean, that was a historic rookie season for a quarterback, relatively speaking. Honestly, not as historic as Bo Nix's, but still very, very good. And then the fact that he led his team all the way to his conference championship. So if Bo's season happens in almost any other year, he probably ends up getting a lot more shine. But because it happened in contrast to what Jaden Daniels did, it comes off as less special and unique when we all know it actually is. Yeah, so Scott says, because a washed up Russell Wilson threw for 26 touchdowns and 7 picks in 15 games for Sean Payton, now people think it's Sean Payton, not Bo Nix. Going back to the whole system quarterback thing. Whoa, froze. Did I just freeze on screen? Did you see that, Scott? A little bit. All right, guys. Oh my goodness. Fluffernut's back in the house. I love it. She says, Fluffernut's what I use, so I don't use the F word in front of my grandkids. LOL. I love it. It's great. No, I'm serious. Fluffernut. I'm going to drop it on my son to them and be like, "You little fluffer nut." Theo, he's 4. He'll, "What, Dad?" He'll think it's funny. You know, some people, I think it's great. I think it's great because some people, you know, I don't know if this is a Rocky Mountains thing, but some people call, I don't want to get gross here, but like breaking wind, they'll call it a fluff. I don't know if you ever heard that. I'm sure you have. So fluffer nut fluff doesn't really get used in my house, but we're going to use fluffer nut. I love it. That's good. As you guys know, I keep it clean on our shows. I have a much harder time keeping it clean when I don't have a camera and a spotlight and a microphone in front of me, just because, I don't know, maybe it was the way I was raised, but I'm going to try and use fluffer nut now. I love it. Thank you, Lady D. Appreciate you so much. 3 super chats, massive super chats. Mount Rushmore for a reason. Guys, have a great night. I love you. Before I dip, just reminding you, connect with us on X at the MHH pod, at Mile High Huddle. Really important to follow us on Instagram. A lot of big things happening over there with MHH, and we're investing a lot of our time and content focus and to grow that and make it big for you guys as YouTube just continues to go crazy. And so, I mean, so many new subscribers this offseason. I never would have guessed. Doesn't make sense to me that we have an all-time low offseason for like fan scrutiny and traffic, and yet it's like the biggest offseason growth swing for MHH YouTube. Make it make sense. I'm not sure. But anyway, love you guys so much. Thank you. We'll be back, Zach and I, Thursday. We'll try to get to the bottom of what's been going on with this and reach out to StreamYard. It's obviously a StreamYard thing. And until then, guys, have a great start to your week. Enjoy it. And I will see you Thursday. Much love and respect for Zach, for Scott. I'm Chad. Love you. Oh, wait. No, I can't sign off. Hold on, Scott. Hold on, dude. Got to give my shouts. Papa Bear, the great Super Chat superstars and supporters helping us keep the lights on, like Papa Bear, the Ronk, Phil, Sam, the Lady D, George Fox, Naj. Love you, bro. I mean, the Ronk, Lady D going off multiple times, Phil going off multiple times, Eric Flynn. I want to say, if we missed anyone, it's just kind of a weird night. We'll make it up to you. But anyway, did I click on that? Yeah, I did. Love you guys. Have a great week. I'll see you on Thursday.